Hey everybody, it's me again. Delilah's downloads with a part two to the purpose in your positioning. Purpose in your positioning. So come on in, have a seat. Come on in, take a seat. This should be really quickly. Didn't think I was gonna come back and say this. I refrained from saying it on the last video because I thought it would be a bit lengthy, so I didn't. But it's a burning inside of me to share this piece of the story. So come on in. Delilah's downloads, the follow-up to the last video, which was purpose in your positioning. So if you didn't check it out, go back, check it out. Talks about when God is positioning you, sometimes it may be uncomfortable, but there's a purpose. So know what the purpose is. We talk about the story of Joseph that kind of kicks off in Genesis 37. So you didn't check it out, go back and check it out. This is the follow-up to that, so it may make more sense. So anyway, welcome to Delilah's Downloads. Speak up for yourself. So as a follow-up to the last video where I talked about being displaced, being uncomfortable, to be put in position, a part of that also was speaking up for myself. So my accommodations were not what I would have wanted them, and sometime in my life ago I probably would have just accepted it and kind of been like, okay, well, this is what it is, so I'm just going to tolerate it. But I spoke up. I spoke up to say, hey, not really going to work for me, and something was done about that. But more importantly, speaking up, what speaking up did was it created an opportunity for me to fall into position as God has saw fit. So again, as a follow-up to the last video, part of the reason that I'm here in this particular location is to talk, disciple, connect, fellowship with this young lady that I've met, the manager actually at this facility. And I wouldn't have connected with her, and definitely not as quickly, had I not spoken up about my situation and needed to speak to a manager. Amen. And be kind and respectful in sharing my concerns about my accommodations. Always trying to be diligent about walking in the fruit, right, of patience and love and kindness. So by me speaking up for myself, point being, by me speaking up for myself, created the interaction that was necessary in order to fulfill or step into or even acknowledge the purpose of why God has brought me here. And so that goes back to the story of Joseph. I was reminded how, although it was God's purpose for the positioning of Joseph in being sold and going to jail, all of this, it was God's purpose to solidify like the foundation for the children of Israel and Joseph's family too. Although that was his purpose, part of the positioning required Joseph to speak up. So if you guys recall, when he's in jail and the cake maker and the cupbearer, they have these dreams and they need an interpreter. And long story short, Joseph interprets the dream. And when he interprets the dream for the cupbearer, he tells the cupbearer, hey, remember me and speak fondly of me to Pharaoh, basically remember me. And because he spoke up, he could have been quiet and been like, oh, okay, well, that's good enough that I've helped. But God put it on his spirit to say something and do something. And he did that. So even though it was years later when Pharaoh had the dream and needed an interpreter, and the cupbearer was like, oh, wait a minute, my homeboy back in jail. I know a guy. He was a servant, and we spent some time. We did some time together. I had a dream. He interpreted to me. And the stuff came true. He can probably do the same for you. So my point is, there'll be times where God is telling us to say or do something, or to say something, to speak up for ourselves. It'll be done in a way that's tactful, and with dignity and respect. But we must take heed to those opportunities, because speaking up Speaking up. Oh, thanks so much for coming back, Brooke. This is kind of part two. Speaking up can create the opportunity needed for the positioning. So again, had I not complained, right? Had I not spoken up when I'm like, I don't feel like I'm being treated fairly here, I wouldn't have, that interaction with the manager that I needed to connect with wouldn't have happened as quickly. And it put me in the mind of Joseph when he spoke up in jail, and it created an opportunity for him to go before Pharaoh, and to continue to be put into position for his purpose. So Delilah's Downloads part two of the purpose in your positioning. Speak up for yourself. If God is saying for you to say something, by you saying something, it may trigger something in the other person that you're supposed to speak into. It may blow off a light bulb in your head about the positioning that's actually happening in your life by opening your mouth and saying something. But we're going to make sure that we always do it out of love. Everything that we say, right, is out of love. So until next time, make sure we're speaking up and make sure we're understanding the purpose in our positioning. Until next time, family, I love you guys. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.